What is up? What is up, my fellow Chibits? Hopefully all of you are having a very good day today, because you know how I am. I like to know if all of you are safe, if you're having a fun time, and if you're not, I hope things work out for you and you guys eventually can smile and have fun once again. And so today is the weekly Chibit questions, and as always, I've asked many of you on Patreon and on Twitter to give me any question you want me to ask. If I have not answered before, then it might be in this video. So let us begin. If the Moon Hunting Bear had a sequel slash spin-off. Now, when you talk about Moon Hunting Bear, I'm assuming you're talking about the Moon Hunting Bear from Spice and Wolf, because if this is like a book series or anything, it's not ringing any bells. So I've never seen the original if there's like a Moon Hunting Bear series or something. But if you're talking about the Moon Hunting Bear from Spice and Wolf, I would love to actually have like a spin-off or a sequel or something focusing on it, because that is a little piece of history of Spice and Wolf that we really don't know much about. And since we do know that there's new novels coming out for Spice and Wolf, since we have like a part 2 now, I would definitely like to see the Moon Hunting Bear being like a focus or something, finding out more information of what really happened to, you know, Holo's homeland. So yeah, I would definitely love to have that. I would definitely love to have more information on it. What makes a great historical manga of any genre? Well, if you're making a historical manga, it really depends on how realistic or you keep it. For instance, how accurately do you follow history? Do you keep in line with the characters or whatever happened in history, like the certain events? Or do you try to change it and make your own story? Like, for instance, let's take an example of Kingdom. Kingdom is actually based off of history. The manga Kingdom is based off of history. It's a historical manga. Overall, though, the writer of the series does take his own little liberties with the manga and tries to mix things up and not completely follow the real events of history. Personally, what I think makes a great historical manga, depending on what genre it is, obviously, I think it's just how accurately you follow history, but at the same time, you're willing to expand upon history and even make slight tweaks that make it even better than it was in history. Have you started the Bakemonogatari novels? Yes, I have. I have read about probably 70% of the first Bakemonogatari novel. I think I talked about it in my last vlog last week. I read about 50 or 30 or so % of it, and I'm almost done with it. I've just been reading it here and there, like a chapter or two a day or at night or so every couple days. Every time I'm about to go to bed, I grab the book, I put it on my bedside, and I'm just reading it and all that, and then I close it, go to sleep. That's basically what I've been doing for it. So yes, I have started the Bakemonogatari novels. Very good, actually. Very, very good, and honestly impresses me with how well Studio Shaft handled the, you know, Monogatari series. I mean, obviously the novels have more details and stuff, but it's impressive to see what Shaft did with the novels because of how crazy they are when it comes to just the dialogue and stuff. If you got a tattoo of something, what would it be? Okay, number one, I would probably never get a tattoo. I'm not a big fan of tattoos. I mean, if you like tattoos, you want to get one, go for it. I'm not one to judge. Don't worry, I won't judge you. But I'm not one that really likes tattoos at all. I just don't know. It's not that I fear needles or anything. I just don't like tattoos. I just don't want it. Because I feel like if I got a tattoo, I feel like I would regret it. Like, I would get something really cool at that moment, but then a couple years pass down the road, I'm like, I don't like this anymore, and I would want it gone. But I would have to pay more money to get it removed, it would be scarred. It seems like a big hassle overall. So, in terms of tattoos, I probably will never get one, but let's say on the off chance somehow I did get a tattoo, okay? Let's just say I did get one. What would I want for the time being at this moment? Honestly, I don't know what I would want. It would take a lot of time for me to think about what I want, because when you get a tattoo, you're kind of stuck with it. You're stuck with it for a good while, unless you have the money to pay for it, so it would take a bit for me to try to figure out what I would want. I mean, if I want to do something anime-related, like if I just want to go straight-up anime or something, I'd probably do something to do with Spice and Wolf or, you know, ReZero or something, or Tokyo Ghoul. It would definitely be one of those, or Berserk. It would definitely be something to do with those series if I had to tattoo any anime or manga thing related on me, but if not that, it would take a lot of time to consider what I would want. What do you predict about the upcoming One Piece chapters Wano hype? Well, for one, when we finally get out of this arc, once we're done with, you know, the arc that's currently ongoing in One Piece with, what's going on with Luffy, Cake Island and all that, Big Mom and stuff, I believe there's gonna be, like, a shift of focus. I can see Oda probably shifting the focus over to Zoro and all of them, and showing what they've been doing while Luffy and all of them were doing what they were doing on this island. I can definitely see a perspective shift. I would really like that if Oda wanted to do something like that. But if he doesn't go that path, I would definitely like to see the upcoming arc, like the Wano Country arc and all that. I would love to see Zoro to have more of a big spotlight. Since Sanji's been a big spotlight of this arc, like the arc, this main arc going on right now, I'd like to see Zoro have his own arc. I would like to see Zoro finally going through his own arc, because Wano has been built up for such a long time. I would love to see him having like an entire year of Zoro as well. Like Sanji had a year of Sanji, I'd like to see a year of Zoro. That's just my personal preference there. Hey Chibi, hope you're doing well when you read this. I'm doing well, how about yourself? I have 2 questions. First, I just finished the Spice and Wolf anime. I haven't touched the manga yet. Anything I should know before diving in? Okay, so you finished the anime, so I'm assuming you watched Season 1 and Season 2, and you haven't touched the manga. Now, here is my personal opinion on this, okay? The manga is okay, but it's not the greatest way to continue on after the anime. If you want to actually continue on after Season 2, I recommend picking up Volume 4 of the light novel. For instance, Volume 4 of light novel of Spice and Wolf, because that continues on after the, you know, events of Season 2, or actually kind of before it a little bit, because they skipped Volume 4 in Season 2, but they went directly to, like, Volume 5, if I'm correct, if I'm remembering the numbers right. So, what I'm getting at is, read Volume 4, and then go over to Volume 6 and continue reading on. That's my recommendation. The light novels are amazing. It's definitely worth a read. One of the best series I have ever read. It's my favorite of all time. In all honesty, I just cannot recommend it enough. My second question is, if you had to pick your favorite episode of any anime, what would it be? Probably episode 131 of Hunter x Hunter 2011. So is Viz Media doing Tokyo Ghoul Re? Yeah, they are. When are Berserk and Hunter x Hunter coming back? I know Hunter x Hunter's supposed to come back before the end of the year, so probably sometime around Christmas, and Berserk, I believe, is coming back as well sometime around Christmas, so I believe before the end of the year, we should have Berserk and Hunter x Hunter back, at least a chapter or so. I could be wrong there, don't quote me on that. I know Hunter x Hunter was announced to come back, but I don't remember if Berserk is coming back later this year or not, so forgive me on that. Did you have an anime club back in school? If not, what do you think of schools having an anime club nowadays? At one point in time, yes, I did have an anime club, and I tried to see how it was, and personally, I didn't really like it, and let me explain why. At the time, I was very socially awkward. I didn't really like to express my love and passion for anime and manga. I usually just kept it to myself, I'm gonna be honest. I was a shy boy, didn't want to really express anything. One day, I just decided to peep in and check the anime club out, and I was looking at it, and I just saw them watching, like, I think they were watching Cowboy Bebop. Now, I haven't personally seen it myself. I think they were watching Cowboy Bebop, or they were watching, something else. Trigun or Cowboy Bebop. I don't know which one they were watching, but they were definitely watching one of those two. And I remember that I was like, oh, this is cool, they're watching anime and all that. And I always wanted to join it, but I just didn't because I was just too shy at the time, so I just kind of, you know, left it and all that and never really joined. But my school did have an anime club. How do I feel about, you know, anime clubs nowadays? I feel like it's a cool thing. I mean, it allows you to come in contact with people that have similar interests such as yourself. I mean, hopefully many of you out there weren't like I was, being very shy and didn't really want to let anyone know you have a passion for anime or manga. Hopefully you're not like I was, and hopefully you're willing to join clubs and stuff, but I think it's a good thing. I relatively think it's a good thing. What are some of your most replayed games? Something that you come back to time and time again, despite knowing the story and gameplay cover to cover. Persona 4s and Persona 5, by the looks of it, is that for me. Okay, so games I constantly go back to, that I could play time and time again over and over. Now, Dark Souls is definitely one of those games I could always go back to. But if there is one game I love to visit often, it would definitely be the Master Chief Collection. Or not just Master Chief, but just Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST. I like visiting those games and just playing them once again. And if we're talking about strictly RPGs I've always went back to and I can play no matter what, it would definitely be World of Warcraft. It is a game I have been with for over a decade now, been playing that game. And so I think that is one game that's definitely my most replayed game, because I could always just start a new character and just grind back up. I don't know, I just find the game very fun. So I would say it's World of Warcraft for the MMO side. For shooter side, definitely the Master Chief Collection. Not necessarily Master Chief Collection. I haven't played Master Chief Collection a lot. I'm just talking about the Halo games in general. Or I would say Dark Souls, yeah. That would be for my RPG. Will you review any of the Netflix exclusive series such as Castlevania? I'm sorry for being a broken record, but I can't recommend Castlevania enough. I personally don't really know. I have not gotten around to watching Castlevania. I still have yet to get around to it. I need to watch it. I have heard great things about it. I've heard it's actually a really good Netflix exclusive series. Now, as I've already said in my vlogs and stuff, I might have already said in my previous Chibit questions, I have never played the games of Castlevania. I know it's about a vampire and stuff. I just never played the game. So I don't really know much about the story, but I heard it's really good, and I think there's a possibility of getting a season 2. I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. But I mean, still, I do eventually want to watch it. If I ever do watch it, most likely I will at the very least give you a first impressions or just my overall impressions. Have you ever tried to be in a sport which you failed horribly at? Are you good at sports? Why, yes, actually. Around elementary school, I wanted to try out basketball. I remember joining the basketball team, trying it out, and I was just absolutely horrible at basketball. I remember after like the first month or so, I was just like, I can't do this because I'm just so bad. I was very aware that I was just so bad at it, and I was very short as well. I was still the shortest in class. I was like only 3 foot or so at the time. Or 4 foot, 3 or 4 foot at the time. I was short. I was really, really short. So I just couldn't do anything. So that was definitely a sport I really failed at. Am I good at sports? Personally, I have no idea. I really haven't really ventured off and did a lot of sports. I was never really into football. I tried basketball. I knew I was bad with it. I've always been fascinated by baseball. I've just never really gotten to play baseball. But I've always had an interest in it. I've always had an interest in baseball just because of how it is. I don't know. Just something about the sport always intrigued me. It may have been because I remember watching the movie Sandlot when I was growing up. I don't know how many of you remember that movie, but I remember watching Sandlot, which really got me into the sport baseball. And I wanted to play it, but like I said, I just never had the chance to do it. You said repeatedly that you live in rural Tennessee. Have you thought about moving closer to a major city like Nashville or Memphis? Or do you like living out in the middle of nowhere? I like living out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I know moving into a big city would allow me to have easier access to things like conventions, airports to go to different areas and stuff. Just access to collect goods I want or food or anything. But I just really like being out in the country. I don't know. I just like being kind of secluded from other things. I don't have to hear cars going back across the road constantly. I just hear, like, I guess, animals, like farm animals, to just hearing crickets, and sometimes just very loud people on four-wheelers. That's the only time I really have a lot of noise around here. So I really like living out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know. I just don't have to deal with neighbors or anything. So I don't think I'll probably move to anywhere near a city, but who knows? Things can change. I mean, maybe one day I might decide to go out of country and just live somewhere else. Who knows? Greetings, Chibi. In the past, you mentioned some of your phobias, which included pediophobia, the fear of dolls. Have you overcome/overcame any of your fears? There's one fear that does come to mind that I think I have overcome overall. Dolls still creep me out. I'm still creeped out about the porcelain dolls. I'm not talking about like regular like baby dolls and stuff like that. I'm just talking about like porcelain dolls that look like human beings. That's what really creeps me out. But I would say a fear I overcame was definitely heights. I used to be very, very scared of very high up places. I mean, I kind of still get a little bit woozy overall when I'm looking over an edge, but I'm not so fearful anymore to where I can't be like near a cliffside. I mean, I'm not really scared of that anymore, but I still get a little bit woozy if I look down. So yeah, I guess that's one fear I did manage to overcome. What do you think about Nier Automata? I didn't watch your streams because I wanted to play it spoiler free. Personally, I loved it. Oh, I bought the PlayStation 4 just to play Nier Automata. I loved that game so much. It was definitely one of the best games I played in recent memory. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that game. It sucks it's only on the PlayStation. I would have loved to have it on the Xbox and be able to get achievements for it and stuff, but still, Nier Automata, I bought my PlayStation just to be able to play it, because it was that good of a game. I loved it so much. So, yeah, definitely worth all the money it made. And it was definitely worth the money I spent on it. I truly enjoyed that game. What kind of wedding ceremony would you have with Holo? I don't know what type of wedding ceremony I would have. It would definitely have to be something very fancy, because knowing how her personality is. But I know for a fact, if there is one thing that needs to be there or it won't happen, you would need to have a lot of wine. A lot of wine, or just, you know, beer or meat or whatever. You just need to have a lot. You need to have a lot for Hello, because she's the type of person that would want to get really drunk. So I could definitely see if there was a wedding ceremony, if somehow that did happen, there would have to be a lot of alcohol. Thoughts on the iPhone X and the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus? Have a great day, Chibi. I've heard about this iPhone X. Soon as I heard iPhone X mentioned, all I could think about was the Xbox One X. I'm like, oh, wow. So now we're going into, like, letters now instead of, like, you know, numbers anymore. They're converting. They're converting over. I've never owned an iPhone. I'm not going to lie about that. I've never owned an iPhone. I've never really had an interest in getting an iPhone or, you know, messing with, like, a smartphone. I've talked about this in the past. I don't really have much thoughts about it. I think it's cool because it has a lot more stuff about it, or gadgets. I haven't really looked deep into iPhone X or whatever, but it's cool. It's cool, just not something that I'm truly interested in at all. Can I make a sandwich for you someday? Sure. If you're going to make me a sandwich, though, make sure it has pepper jack cheese, tomatoes, lettuce. Give me some form of habaneros or jalapenos and mustard and mayonnaise, please. That's what I would love on my sandwich. Which version of Kaneki is your favorite? Heise included. So you're talking about all Kanekis. Like, you're talking about the original OG Tokyo Ghoul Kaneki, like before he met Rize. You're talking about the Kaneki that met Rize. You're talking about the Kaneki that became white-haired Kaneki. You're talking about the Kaneki that became Centipede. You're talking about the Kaneki that became Heise Sasuke. Then you're talking about the Kaneki that became Bloodstained Kaneki, and then the one that accepted everything, which we're at right now. I would say the latest one. The one he's at right now, where he has accepted everything. He has let go of all the things that's dragged him down, the chains, the shackles, and he has now found a reason to live and move forward. So, I will say the newest version of him. The one that's with Toka. If you could only eat one type of Cheetos for the rest of your life, which type would you choose? Flaming hot, jalapeno, puffy, etc. Most likely the habanero. There was this habanero flavor I saw at my local Walmart about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I saw it, I bought a bag, really loved it, I went back, there was no more left, I was like, oh, that sucks. So, I haven't been able to find, like, you know, Cheetos jalapeno flavor since then, but that is definitely something I would be able to eat for the rest of my life, in terms of just Cheeto-wise. If Holo gained a power, what would it be and why? Okay, if Holo gained a power, I want her to gain the power to become a real physical being that becomes a 3D, and she can be in this existence permanently. Very similar to how, you know, Recreators is, if you ever watched the anime. Who in Recreators would you say is overall best girl? Magane. There's no doubt about that one. How do you feel, Chibi? I feel pretty good overall. I mean, I'm not sick, thankfully. I have my health. I'm happy right now. I'm thankful that so many of you continuously support me on YouTube and on Patreon. You allow me to continue doing YouTube and focus on YouTube. I'm very happy about that. The only thing I could say that's necessarily bad is that a couple of my videos got hit yesterday because of, you know, the YouTube demonetization stuff where the symbol goes yellow. I got hit yesterday, like a couple of my vids got, you know, demonetized, which kind of sucked, but that's just how YouTube is, which is why, you know, I said I'm glad so many of you support me on Patreon, because if it wasn't for that, honestly, I couldn't do this, like, focus on it. I would have to focus on, you know, other things. So, with that being said, though, I'm feeling pretty good. Do you have a secret fetish for Afros? It's okay to be honest, Chibi. I do not think I have a fetish for Afros. How would Stain act if he met Togata and saw him fight? Oh, Stain would be fangasming. If he saw Togata fighting Overhaul and all that, that man would have been just fangasming and say, this man is a proper hero. This man would have just basically been bowing down, worshipping Togata because of how good of a hero he is. iPhone or Samsung? I have a Samsung tablet here, so I would say I'll go with Samsung. To you, what is more important in a great manga? Good storyline / good characters or great artwork? this is easy. Good storyline and great characters. I could care less about artwork. I mean, artwork does matter, don't get me wrong. But let's, take an example from Hunter x Hunter. A long time ago, Togashi had this big issue with his art. Didn't look the best, but he still has good story, good characters. Let's look at, One from One Punch Man. His art's no. It's no. But he has a really good story, really good characters. Look at, Tower God. Now, Tower God has improved a lot. Like, the latest, chapters or whatever of Tower God, they look beautiful. But if you go back to the earlier portions of Tower God, even though the art looks really bad, the story and characters are really good. So, personally, I prefer great story and great characters over art any day of the week. Chibi, what is your thoughts on the PewDiePie case? So, you're talking about the controversial topic. My thoughts on it, I wasn't watching the live stream when he did it. I did see the clip, though, of what he did. But I wasn't watching the live stream when he was doing that, or when he did it. But, my thoughts on it, it's very... There's no excuse for it. Honestly, there's no excuse. I know he was in the heat of the moment, and he was gaming and all that, but even then, a word like that should not have been in his vocabulary. That's my personal opinion. I don't think PewDiePie is necessarily a racist or anything. I don't think he is. I think, honestly, he's a good dude. I think PewDiePie is a really good guy, but I believe, though, just that word alone should not have been in his vocabulary. I just think that should never have been in his mind, processed in his mind to say at all, because just something like that, I don't know, even as an insult, even if you're not even recording yourself, like, okay, let's just say you're not a YouTuber, you're not a streamer, you're just playing a game. I just don't think that type of language should be in your vocabulary in the first place. I feel like cursing's one thing, but using that type of language is just going too far, and there's just no excuse for it. There isn't. Now, PewDiePie did make a response, obviously, and I did watch that. I mean, what he did in that video, that's literally really the only thing he can do. I mean, seriously, at the end of the day, there's not much he can really do but say, sorry, he made a mistake. I mean, he didn't try to make an excuse. He didn't try to say, like, oh, he didn't mean it or whatever, or, like, he, didn't mean to say that. I mean, he didn't try to make any excuses, which I do appreciate he was willing to at least go that far to show, like, yes, he messed up, and he understands. Like, there's just nothing else he really can do. I like how he did that. I really like how he made that. It was a very mature video. Many might not care about it, think he's faking it, but there's not much more he could do. I mean, that's the only thing he really could do, is basically say, sorry, it was bad, and, he shouldn't have said it. And, like I said, there's nothing else he really can do to change that. So that's my thoughts on the PewDiePie case. How often do you fap to your holo wall scrolls? None. Let's try again. Will you do more TOG videos? Yes. I don't know when, but yes, I will. Chibi, if they told you that you could change one thing about YouTube, what do you want to change? I mean, change forever and have a nice day. You have a nice day yourself. So you're saying I could change anything. It'll be changed forever, never going back. Remove demonetization. Just remove that, YouTube, please. It's messing, not just me, but every YouTuber on the platform is just getting messed up. It really is hurting so many YouTubers. That is definitely something I would love to be changed, but I know for a fact that's unrealistic for that to get changed. So if anything, I would say the website layout, okay? If we're not talking about something that's probably just completely unrealistic, website layout is definitely something I would like to not be changed. Like, I like it to stay what it is and not change, unless it really, really needs to be changed. Because YouTube loves changing its layout constantly, and honestly, let's go by the old saying, you don't fix something that isn't broken. And they constantly change the layout of YouTube, and honestly, a lot of times it makes it worse and worse as they go on. The new layout for YouTube is just straight up awful, and I really don't like it. So that would definitely be something if we're talking about something realistic, but if we're talking about anything, I would probably say just demonetization in general. I don't know. I feel like it should be handled completely differently. Can we be friends, big bro? Too soon. I see you. You got that tragedy boner going on. I see you. Best Dragon Ball wife. I really like Android 18. Was Tsuyu hot? How did I know I would see an image like this in this week's Chibit questions? I mean, this face is going to become a meme. This face is going to be a very, very big meme in the community. Anime community, Boku no Hero community. It's going to be a big meme. I guess, yeah. Hey, Chi, what do you think of this ink drawing combining ballet and martial arts? I listened to this. I'll check it out in a little bit, but, how do I feel about the drawing? Did you do this, I'm assuming? I'm assuming you drew it. So it's like dancing, but then martial arts? In a way, martial arts, depending on, like, the type of fighting, it could be considered like dancing. So, it's like combining both. I like the way it is done. What type of student were you in class? The very quiet type. I was very quiet and really just kept to myself and did my work and went home. Do you ever get embarrassed for watching certain anime series? A long time ago you asked me that question? Oh yes, I got embarrassed for watching certain anime. Nowadays, I really don't care anymore. I mean, look, I've already been straight up with you guys of what, you know, I do or what I watched in the past. I mean, there's really not much more I could really be embarrassed about, so I've kind of just, you know, I've learned to not really care anymore. I mean, if there was a series I was embarrassed about watching, though, it would probably have to be Kiss Sis. When I first started, I was really embarrassed because of just how much I enjoyed that anime. So, yeah, I would say Kiss Sis was one of those series that just made me very embarrassed. I don't watch your channel, but why is your waifu such trash?